Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about UK Global Talent Visa promise versus talent. On one hand, it's really easy to understand how many years you need until ILR on promise versus talent, but it's also really not easy to understand which category you should apply if you're making an application right now for arts, for science, and for tech. Generally speaking, you define if you're a promise or a talent based on how many years of relevant work experience you have. So if you have been working in your field that you're applying under for more than 5 years, you are considered a talent. If you have less than 5 years of relevant work experience, you are a promise. The word relevant is really important here. What it means is you could be, a recent client case, a doctor, a medical doctor, for 15 years and then become a songwriter, and being a songwriter only for 3 years would actually qualify you to apply under a promise route and not a talent route. The same way you can be working in a bank as a banker and then you decided to move to a tech career and you've been for the past 4 years you've been a product manager at a fintech startup, so you can apply as a promise. You would think, why on earth would someone want to apply for a promise if they're not unsure? Because obviously talent leads you to much faster ILR. Yes, but some candidates are a little bit more worried about their profile, whether it's strong enough, and they think that they can just choose promise because they have less, let's say, achievements in their field and they just want to go the easier route. It is not always the case. I want you to understand that generally speaking, documents that you provide for promise and for talent are very similar. So you would still need almost exactly the same pack of documents when applying for a promise, even if it's promise and not a talent. The only real difference is in details. So for example, Technation, yes, as a promise candidate, you wouldn't necessarily need to be an award-winning professional, or you wouldn't need to be like a proper keynote speaker with like a crazy public speaking career, but you would still need to be a speaker. You would still need to be doing impactful, cool projects for the industry. So promise doesn't mean necessarily that you just like can have 3 years of experience working for one company and nothing else. No. The same goes for Arts Council, for example. Yes, there's a definition between promise and talent. And for example, media recognition, for talent, you would need it from at least 2 countries, while for promise, you can only provide it from 1 country. So the benchmark is lower, but the requirements are the same. So you still need to have media recognition or awards or proof of distribution, but they just give you a little bit lower bar when it comes to, let's say, how many countries that has to be from. What if you are in between? What if you like have 4.5 or like 5 years right now and what to choose? There's not really a rule. Obviously, getting a talent is always better because you get faster ILR in 3 years. But you just need to sit and look at your experience and see, okay, do I actually have like really keynote speaking, awards, media recognition for the countries or not? And if you have 10 years of experience in this field, you cannot apply for promise. This is important. So if you, for example, don't have media recognition as an artist in 2 countries, but you've been an artist for 10 years, you cannot apply for promise just because you don't have enough of what they're looking for. They define promise as an early stage of your career. So this is super important to keep in mind. On top of that, I have seen people being rejected, say hello to my cat, to being rejected under promise category because they were too experienced for promise category. So keep that in mind. Just because you don't have some requirements doesn't necessarily straight away qualify you as promise. They still look at the early stage career, number of years of experience, or experienced professional in the relevant field. I had last week an interesting question asked. It was a singer, and it was quite a young guy, and he was like, well, I only have like 2 years of experience as a singer. Do I apply for promise or talent? And it's a no-brainer. He applies for promise, and he's like, well, what if like I won awards and I have so much media recognition and I don't know, millions of downloads and streams on Spotify, etc. Good question, because yes, even with 2 years of experience, sometimes you've already achieved so much that you would qualify for talent. So you can do that. The same goes for actors. Sometimes your career develops so rapidly in the matter of under 5 year time. So then you can do that. But generally speaking, Under 5 years is promise, over 5 years is talent. I hope I wasn't very confusing. Here, of course, it's a very case by case situation, but make sure you understand that they will be judging you for the talent or for the promise, and you have to choose who are you in the application.